All right, I'm with Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Travis, you all moved to 6-0 today. I mean, what was the message that Andy told you all about the Super Bowl rematch coming to today's game?
I mean, it's about us. It's about us. It's about, us getting better throughout the year. How can we, keep getting better from our previous game to now? And I think the message was just, let's go out there and play together. There's a lot of doubters in terms of what we can do offensively right now with the guys that we got, and I think we showed everybody that we can put up points today.
Obviously, as one of the leaders on the team, Juju going back down, and obviously other players having to step up, and you and your role. What does that say about the quality of your teammates stepping up today?
Man, I love them, man. I love every single guy on this team because that's the mentality. Next guy up, and everybody feels their role, and they want that opportunity to get out there and show the world that we got everybody we need right here to win a championship. And I think it's going to keep expanding. Everybody's role is going to keep expanding throughout the season.
Last undefeated team in the league, but next week you take on the Raiders. Obviously, that rivalry is what it is. Your initial thoughts on that matchup next week?
Well, I think we found out last year that if we don't have the right mindset going into this game, this team can beat us, and that's every team in the NFL. But I think this rivalry for this the AFC West Conference division, that's always a big game, no matter who we're playing in the division. And sure enough, the Raiders they're always a tough opponent.
Obviously, finally, your Cleveland Guardians went down to the Yankees. Royals went down to the Yankees. Who do you root for now?
I'm just a baseball fan at this point. I think Cleveland has always been my go-to team. But I just appreciate baseball. You guys have seen me at a lot of World Series games in the past, and I don't know if I'll go this year, but I always find a way to really enjoy playoff baseball with my family and friends.
Appreciate you as always.
Always, baby.
Patrick, a plug-and-play game. I feel like that's been the story of your life here this season, right? With injuries going in and out on offense and defense, yet you guys continue to move forward. How are you guys able to do this?
Yeah, I think it comes from the leadership of the group. Everybody steps up and makes the plays whenever their numbers are called, and we do it. We find ways. I mean, it's not always pretty. It's not always looks the best. But at the end of the day, we're going to find a way to get a win.
Can I tell you what was pretty? The longest run of your career. Did you know that 33-yard run was the longest of your career?
I did not know that was long. I need to get my yards up, though, because 33 is not that long. No, it was. I ended up just cutting back down the sideline, trying to make a play in a big moment, and we were able to get in the end zone.
Yeah, and you got in the end zone there, and your defense lost their mind when you popped the San Francisco defender there. I know you've been giving your defense credit all week long, but they were losing it.
No, yeah, we support each other. We're a big family over here, and I wasn't even really trying to run them over. I was just trying to get in the end zone, and I'm a little heavy, so I got some weight to me, and I ended up getting in there.
5-0 now against Kyle Shanahan and these 49ers. You told me this week the one thing that you really have to take note of is extreme focus, because it's going to take one play. What is it like going up in these matchups with these guys?
Yeah, they're a great football team. They got a lot of great players, and it comes down to little things. We obviously got turned the ball over too many times, but our defense got turnovers, and it's a team game, and we found a way to get a win.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you. Yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers 28-18 in Week 7. The Super Bowl rematch was not the instant classic that February's matchup was, but Patrick Mahomes still came out on top. With the win, the Chiefs moved to 6-0 for the first time in Mahomes' career, according to the NFL. With 3 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, and 80 regular season wins in 102 games, there is no shortage of great accomplishments in Mahomes' career. This is the furthest he has brought the Chiefs into the season without losing a game. That is particularly impressive given how last season ended. They won their final 2 games of the regular season, all 4 playoff games, and now another 6 in a row. The Chiefs have ripped off these wins without the vintage version of their offense. They struggled in the red zone, and Mahomes threw 2 more interceptions on Sunday, but they still won. Steve Spagnuolo and the defense dominated this game and have dominated all season long. If they can combine the vintage Mahomes attack with this defense, the 1972 Dolphins might want to watch out. Mahomes and the offense have not been perfect, but they have done enough to win each of these games. They should be able to continue that with their upcoming schedule. The Chiefs have beaten some solid teams on their way to this 6-0 record. The Niners are still NFC contenders, the Ravens have barely lost since Week 1, and the Chargers are over .500. Their upcoming schedule is a mix of winnable games and big AFC matchups that will determine how things shake out in January. The Las Vegas Raiders stand in the way of win number 13. They went back to Gardner Minshew on Sunday after Aidan O'Connell injured his thumb early in the contest. Vegas lost to the Rams despite Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua still being on the shelf. After Vegas, a Monday night battle with the Buccaneers awaits. While their offense will be a tough challenge, they should be able to score in that game. The Broncos and the Bills finish off the next 4 games for the Chiefs. While the Chiefs should beat both of these teams on paper, they will provide unique matchups for their defense. Bo Nix has found his running legs recently, and Josh Allen is one of the best running quarterbacks in the game. They allowed 122 rushing yards to Lamar Jackson in Week 1, so that part of their game must improve. There might be a slight bias in that, joked Thuney in a conversation with Fox Sports following Kansas City's 28-18 win over the San Francisco 49ers. It's very humbling. Obviously, there's a lot of things I can do better. You know, I think all the guys on the O-line deserve it. I'm just proud to be part of this group. As an offensive lineman, you always take pride in running the ball, especially when the defense knows you're going to run it, Thuney said. We had wide receivers blocking, tight ends blocking, and running backs running hard, and Pat Mahomes making great calls. So, it was a total team effort, all 11 guys on offense. I'm just really happy with how everything went. Kansas City's defense also played stingy up front. The Chiefs intercepted San Francisco quarterback Brock Purdy 3 times, holding the offense to 2 of 11 on 3rd down and one of the league's top rushing offenses to 101 rushing yards. But linebacker Drew Tranquill also pointed to the offensive line as a group that sets the tone for the entire team. It's huge, Tranquill told Fox Sports. There's 10 minutes left there in the 4th quarter, and they drive it all the way down. I think they converted like 4 or 5 first downs and took a bunch of time off the clock, and the Mecole Hardman gets in the end zone. We talk about pounding the rock. When you have those big guys up front, led by Creed, center Creed Humphrey, in the middle, those 3 interior guys can really get a push in the run game. While Thuney and the offensive line played winning football, quarterback Patrick Mahomes continues to struggle statistically until the game matters most. Mahomes was a forgettable 16 of 27 for 154 yards with no touchdown passes and 2 interceptions for a 44.4 passer rating. Mahomes is now tied for the league lead in interceptions with 8, and has more interceptions than touchdown passes, 6. But when Kansas City needed to take over the game, Mahomes manufactured a memorable 33-yard scramble that put Kansas City near the goal line. He then capped the drive with a 1-yard run down the middle of San Francisco's defense, running over a thumper at safety in rookie Malik Mustafa. The touchdown gave Kansas City a 21-12 lead with 14:13 left to play, a deficit the 49ers could not overcome. I actually was not trying to lower my shoulder, Mahomes said. I was trying to absorb the hit because I knew I was going to be right there in the end zone. And that, dad bod man, I had enough weight on me where he went down. Their lifeless 28-18 defeat to Kansas City at Levi's dropped their record to 3-4, bumped them out of first place in the division, and undid all the good feelings that erupted after their big victory in Seattle. There's no way to sugarcoat it, we got our ass kicked today, said Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan is now 0-5 against Kansas City. The team's main talking point in the run-up to this Super Bowl rematch was that an October win could never exact revenge for that heartbreaking loss last February, but Sunday's complete dismantling by the Chiefs was soul-crushing. The outcome, combined with the somber news that Brandon Ayuk likely tore his ACL and will be lost for the season, created a funereal atmosphere. Shanahan was barely audible in his post-game press conference. The players were somber and offered mostly muted answers. We didn't play good enough to win, Fred Warner said. You can do one or two things, you can sulk in defeat. Or you can see what the reality is, fix it, move on and get ready to win a game next week. There's so many things that are going to be said about where we're at as a team. At the end of the day, that's not going to help us move forward. That's not going to help us next week. We've got to look at the reality, flush it, and move on. The 49ers have an identity crisis. They aren't as good as the world predicted they would be or as they personally expected to be. They had already given away games to inferior teams, the Cardinals and the Rams, and then the Chiefs came to their house to show them what really good teams do. They find ways to win, Warner said. We went 3-and-out on our first couple of drives and didn't have a first down for what felt like the entire first half. George Kittle said. You can't play that way against a team that knows how to win. They win gritty games. The 49ers are banged up and missing key players. But so are the Chiefs, whose wide receiver core has also been decimated by injury and are also without their best running back. The 49ers look worn down, which could be a cumulative effect of playing so deep into the playoffs the last 3 years. But the Chiefs have played deeper, for more years in a row. The Chiefs were coming off their bye week, ominous timing for the 49ers. Andy Reid's teams are now 22-4 after a regular season bye. Reid seemed to have spent his time off tinkering with his approach in the red zone, ranked 29th in the red zone coming into the game. The Chiefs scored 4 touchdowns in 5 red zone opportunities. The 49ers looked oddly flat from the start. That was surprising considering the opponent, the horrible memories brought back this week in film study and their intense desire to end the Chiefs' ongoing ownership of the 49ers. Obviously, we all know how much last year hurt, Shanahan said. So when you're studying that tape all week, it does bring up emotions. We'd love to beat them, but if we beat them today, that wasn't gonna change anything with the Super Bowl. We'd love to do it. We haven't been able to beat them, so that's something that would feel really good. But I'm not gonna make that more than it is. Whether we won or lost. We're gonna come in Monday and review it. We've got to find a way to win next week. The offense fell flat and Brock Purdy, who threw 3 interceptions, recorded the worst quarterback rating of his career at 36.7, Patrick Mahomes did as well, only slightly better at 44.4. As Kittle pointed out, sustained offensive drives were the best answer for keeping Mahomes off the field. But the 49ers could never get anything going. I think we let our defense down, Kittle said. Afterwards, the 49ers were left looking for small pockets of comfort. The loss was to an AFC team, so it is less damaging to their playoff hopes. They can also look back on the 2022 season and remember that they were 3-4 then. With the 4th loss to Kansas City at home. That team made it to the NFC Championship game and might have made it to the Super Bowl if Purdy's elbow hadn't been damaged, but this 3-4 seems a little more grim. In 2022, the 49ers had self-sabotaged, forcing Trey Lance into the lineup then turning to Jimmy Garoppolo when Lance got hurt. They traded for Christian McCaffrey just before the Kansas City game. This 3-4 49ers team has its quarterback situation under control. McCaffrey remains sidelined and his return uncertain. If there is cavalry coming in the form of a trade, it is unlikely to be as earth-shaking as adding the best running back in the game. And in 2022, the 49ers had a relatively forgiving back end of their schedule. Now the remaining schedule is daunting with road games against strong opponents, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Buffalo, as well as a home date late in the season with currently surging Detroit. Shanahan said the team will watch the film Monday and be hard on each other and find a way to put it to bed. It was a lot different than Debo, Jawan, Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey, Kittle said. Those notable absences helped explain why the San Francisco 49ers looked so out of sync in their 28-18 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, especially on offense. They gained a season-low 212 yards through the air and Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions and no touchdowns. His 36.7 passer rating was the worst of his career, surpassing the 42.6 rating he got in a 4-interception loss to the Baltimore Ravens last season. The question now becomes whether one of Sunday's stand-ins can step up and help fill in for Ayuk, by far the most badly injured of the missing 49ers. The team suspects he tore his right ACL when his knee hyperextended as he caught a pass at the Kansas City 14-yard line in the second quarter. Kyle Shanahan said the wideout, who led the 49ers in receiving yards the last 2 seasons, would have an MRI Monday to confirm the diagnosis. "That's what we fear, that's what it looks like," he said. "But we've been wrong before. So, we're praying that we are." Pearsall was expected to have a minor role in his first action since being shot in the chest on August 31. Instead, he ended up playing most of the second half and finishing with 3 catches for 21 yards. His first, a modest, 6-yard grab in the second quarter, was met with an ovation from the Levi's Stadium crowd and congratulations from teammates. Pearsall noted he never missed a game due to injury in college and said sitting out the first 6 games was foreign to him. After his first catch, he said, "He truly settled down. Once I got on the field and I put my helmet on, my cleats on, and I was running around with the guys, I was like, this is still football at the end of the day," he said. "That's when it felt natural. And then especially after my first catch. I made sure I secured that. And then after that, everything went away." Pearsall spoke publicly for the first time since the incident. He said his initial question as he lay bleeding on a San Francisco sidewalk was whether he'd live. Once that was resolved, he spent a restless night at the hospital with another question